Hello everyone. The title of this work is Network Stochastic Multi-Unbounded with Combinatorial Strategies. This is the outline of the talk. First, I will give a brief introduction to the MAB problem, including the basic background, definition, motivation, and the summary of related works. The problem we study in this paper is divided into four subproblems. I will mainly introduce the four subproblems and the solution to address it, and describe the results a bit. Last, I will present some simulation results. Let us look at the two pictures in these slides. Some of us may have already known that multi-unbounded problems come from casino. That is the slot machine. How should a gambler make smart decisions on choosing slot or bandits to win money? Many people may believe that the slot machines are too random, and win or lose totally depending on luck. The recent news in Singapore tells us that this is not. Let us begin with a toy example and simply model the process. For example, let us say the gambler at each time slot T can select only a bandit from the case bandits, and after pulling the bandits, the gambler can see the result, which is called reward. At each time, the reward is varying over time, and the gambler cannot know it before pulling the selected arm. Therefore, the gambler is facing the problem whether to take a risk and select the unknown arms or choose from the pooled arms that have some observation previously. If he chooses from the old arms, it is called exploitation. The risk is small, but may not have the chance to win bigger. If he chooses from the unpooled arm, it is called exploration. It costs to explore because he has no knowledge on it, and it may be risk. So there is always a trade-off between exploration and exploitation. And after all, the objective of the gambler is to maximize the total reward. There are some strategies to win, but illegal. Let us see some serious application beyond casino. The first is the famous game Go. MAB is basis of learning strategy under unknown environment and reinforcement learning. Other applications like ad placement, the advertiser selects some advertisements on his website and observes the click-through rate. The goal of advertiser is to maximize the average click-through rate. We can formulate the ad placement problems as one type of multi-unbounded problem. Our problem scenario is motivated by online marketing and social network. Let us see the left figures. How people spend time on social media. We can see that lots of people use social media to listen to experience on products and then browse. This provides a great opportunity for online marketing and promotion. The question is, how should we choose the target user to maximize the utility? For example, the overall influence, the total successful acceptance of a promote product. The fundamental problem for the scenario is a network MAB problem instead of the classical MAB problem we talked just now, because the users of social networks are connected and correlated, not everyone independent. When the user is selected, he can post his feedback on social networks where his friends can also respond. With correlated arms, we can have more observation and reward. How should we select a set of users to maximize the long-term reward? Now we summarize the recent works on network MAB problem. So far as we know, all the network MAB work studies the single play scenario. That is, each time the decision makers select one arm. The NIPS 2011 paper studies the case of site observation and proposed a learning policy to achieve distribution-free regret. Here, distribution-free means that the results are not dependent on the distributions of rewards. The Psychometric 2014 studied site observations and stochastic bandits, and achieved only the distribution-dependent regret. As we can see, all these words do not fully address the network MAB problem in our practical problem scenario. There is no general distribution-free results on network MAB with single plate and side boners, and no existence on combinatorial network MAB with side boners. Thus, in this paper, we will focus on these problems. Next, I will give a problem formulation and our learning policies. Let us assume that the rewards of the arm follow unknown IID stochastic process. We mainly study the stochastic network MAB problem. As we mentioned, the major difference is that it has k correlated arms. We have relation graph G, while edges Eij denotes the correlation between two neighboring arms I and J. Because of correlation arms, we get actual bonus on the neighboring arms of the selected arms. Based on the types of bonus, we have side observation and side reward. Side observation means that when we pull the arm, we can also observe the rewards of the neighboring arms. Side rewards means that when we pull the arm, we can receive the actual rewards from the neighboring arms. We have two types of play strategy. For single play, we have to select one arm at one time. For multiple play, we have to choose multiple arms at one time. So it is a combinatorial MAB problem. The objective is to design a learning policy to minimize the long-term regret. Upon the numbers of arms pulled and types of side bonus, we have four scenarios to investigate. Single play with side observation, combinatorial play with side observation, single play with side reward, combinatorial play with side reward. For the case of single plays and side observation, we select one arm each time and observe the rewards of his neighboring arms. So basically, compared to the classic MAB, it gets more observation at one time, which can be used to improve the learning policy. The key idea behind the policy design is to update both the selected arms and neighboring arms. We get a distribution-free learning policy for this case. Our proposed algorithm is the first distribution-free policy for single-play side observation scenario. The expected regret of algorithm 1 after n times loss is bounded by a quantity related to the size of cliques of the subgraph H. For the limits of time, we refer to papers for more details. Also for completes, we also prove the distribution-dependent results. Different from the first problem, this time we have to select multiple arms at one time. It is a combinatorial problem because each time it has multiple combinations of choices. Intuition learning policy is that take each strategy as a combination arm, sometimes we also call arm, and apply the learning policy for the problems of SSO. The major challenge is that a core arm has multiple basis arms and multiple sets of neighbors. How should we utilize the side observation in combinatorial scenario? To address the challenge, we bring the ideas of strategy relation graph, which represent the correlations of core arms, and based on the correlations of basis arms. Here is how it is defined. For vertex set, we define each strategy that is core arm as a vertex. For edge set, we connect vertex Sx and Sy. If Sy has arms, that is the neighbors of the arms in Sx, and vice versa. For example, we choose the feasible strategy is the independent set of graph G. Then we have 7 vertex in graph Sg. We connect vertex S2 and S5 because S2 is a subset of neighboring sets of S5, and S5 is also a subset of the neighboring set of S2. Single play with side rewards, different from the first problem. This time we get more rewards besides observations. The side reward is a combination of reward from all neighboring arms, which is observed as matches in a click. The solution for this new challenge is to update the numbers of observations on side rewards only when the least frequent observed neighboring arm is updated. Here we show the learning algorithm and theoretical result. We define a new superarm for the side reward and update the observation and average rewards of these new superarms only when the least frequently observed arm in this superarm is updated. This is the process of 9-4-7 in the algorithm. We can also get the expected regret of this algorithm. We finally consider the combinatorial play case with side reward. This case is more complicated than previous three cases due to the following two reasons. Asymmetric observations on side rewards for neighboring nodes in one click, and exponential numbers of strategies. The solution is to learn the direct rewards of arms that can pose co-arms. This is the learning policy and theoretical results for the combinational play with side rewards. We now present the simulation result. We first evaluate the regret generated by DFL-SSO policy and compare with the MOSS learning policy. We randomly generated a random graph with 100 arms, each following a IID random process over time with mean between 0 and 1. And from the figure, we can observe that both the accumulated regret and expected regret of DFL-SSO converge to 0, outperform the MOSS policy. In this slide, we show the expected regret of DFL-CSO. The regret bounds in CSO case depends on the numbers of co-arms and the numbers of clicks. Thus, we tested for regret both under sparse regression graph and dense regression graph. In a sparse regression graph, the expected regret slowly increased beyond 0, while in dense regression graph, the expected regrets gradually approach 0. This demonstrates that side observation can help reduce regret if we can observe more. Thanks for listening.